This episode is brought to you by The Godfather and his legendary quote, "Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in."
Welcome to the Stephan Dyer podcast, my people.
Hello, my people. ¿Cómo están, damas y caballeros? Welcome to the Stephan Dyer podcast, where I welcome people with remarkable stories for amazingly vulnerable conversations. This episode was as remarkable as it gets. One of the craziest comeback stories I've ever seen. Also, arguably the most nervous and excited I've ever been to interview anyone on the podcast. Alejandro Vivar is the founder of 25/7 Fitness, a non-for-profit that aims to make fitness free and accessible for all. He is also the owner of Clubhouse Toronto, a gym located in the Toronto downtown core. Now, how he got here is jaw-dropping. In 2007, Alejandro Vivar was arrested in a police raid in Toronto and sent to prison for 10 years. While in prison, he achieved his personal training specialist certification, CanFit Pro, and aimed to turn his life around. In 2016, soon after being released, and while teaching a free fitness class at Christie Pits Park, he was shot and seriously injured. That event is now the theme of the CBC documentary titled Prison Pump. Alejandro's story is one of struggle, perseverance, and hope towards change. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to watch this episode on YouTube, it's available on YouTube. If you want to watch it on Spotify, listen to it on Spotify and all the other platforms. Let's go. Enjoy this episode like I know you will. In 3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to the Stephan Dyer podcast. I have here the unbreakable, the unmistakable, the highly capable, the legend, Alejandro Vivar. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, mano. Thank you for that intro.
Man, you have no idea how excited I am to have you here.
I'm super excited too.
Listen, many people messaged me before I even knew you.
Okay.
And they dropped me my friend Gabi Chinelli, who I went to high school with in Mexico.
Okay.
She lives here. And then she's like, you need to talk to this guy. He has an incredible story. And I'm like, let's read the story. And I couldn't stop reading.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I immediately admire you, man. You've come
a
long way, and I'm really grateful to have you here. So we're just gonna go, I guess, in sequence of some years, and I'm gonna be. So I've researched you a lot, my friend.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be talking in news lingo a little bit, just to start some of the questions, because I want people to have context. So, in 2007, you were arrested in a police raid and sent to prison for 10 years, of which you did 8.5. But while you were in prison, you developed a program to improve yourself, and the rest is history. The certification that you did in prison is called Personal Training Specialist Certification by CanFit Pro. And now you have a gym, 25/7 Fitness, Clubhouse Toronto around Bloor and Yonge, and I love your Instagram. I love everything you're doing. I love Marcus. You're training with your son all the time.
Thank you.
Tell me, how did this whole journey start, and how did you get into trouble in 2007? I saw a news piece of you on YouTube, and you said that it was relieving.
Oh, absolutely, brother. Because I'll be honest, man, I've always been a born leader. I've always been fearless since a kid. Nothing could stop me. But there were two directions that my life could have took. It was the positive and the negative. And unfortunately, at that time, growing up in a gang-infested neighborhood, the rise of hip-hop, which played like a serious role in my life, serious movies, Hollywood, gangster culture coming up in the 90s. the pull on the negative side was way too strong, and there was no way that I was leaving from that path. So I got heavily immersed in that lifestyle, and I knew it wasn't always meant for me. You know, there was always something deep inside me that told me, like, Alejandro, like, this is not your destiny. This is not what you're meant to do. But it worked. It worked for me. I was able to wear that mask like a chameleon and thrive in that world.
Were you also like rapping, freestyling, or you just like the hip hop game? You were looking.
No,
at
I just love the hip hop game, man.
Okay.
Like when the Chronic came out, NWA, like that shit, like that.
Yeah,
That got
the
me. Like
Chronic
I wanted
2001.
I wanted to be a gangster, man. When I watched Blood In, Blood Out for the first time, like I wanted to be like El Gallo Negro.
Yeah.
I wanted to be, I wanted to get my Via El Placazo, And
Did
I
you
grew
watch
up-
Scarface too?
Of course, brother. But I watched Scarface later on in life. I
Okay.
watched Scarface. I was already in the game. I was already, making money and stuff. But yeah, like there was always something that told me, listen, I'm not meant for that. So when you say that about 2007, how I felt there was a weight off my shoulders, I felt, you know what? I knew I was going to get a lot of time, but I knew that's exactly what I needed. And I'm like, wow, like now I can enter into a new life.
In this interview, I saw you say that it was a way to get time back that you lost, which seems ironic because you're going into prison, and you said it felt like getting your life back in many ways.
Absolutely, brother. We were living such a toxic life, bro. We would go out from, like, when you're at that level in the game, we're going out Monday to Friday entertaining clients. We're dropping $5,000 at nightclubs, polluting ourselves. Like, from Monday to Friday, I'm drinking, I'm overeating, I'm not exercising, I'm sitting down.
You weren't this ripped when you were...
I weighed 268 pounds. I was fat, bro.
What?
I'm gonna show you pictures.
Yeah.
You can literally put 2 sticks of butter in my cheeks.
No way. I'm gonna put the pictures.
I'd have fettuccine Alfredos and 4 racks of ribs at 4 a.m. after the club.
But let me understand. What do you mean entertaining clients? You would just like
Entertaining clients. We go to take them to the club, man. That's how it is. Like when you want guys to come check you. It's the same as the legitimate world. Look at the legitimate world. You close a deal, you take your clients, you entertain them. You take them to a nice restaurant, you take them to a nice nightclub, you get a booth. It's the exact same way in the drug game, bro.
Okay.
Exact same way in the drug game, man.
I had no idea.
100%, bro. So now, if there's guys that are doing well, you take them out. We get a booth. We get women.
Wow.
We get champagne. And that's how you keep their loyalties, bro. That's how you keep them coming. And everyone wants to be part of a winning team.
Oh, yeah.
So in that life, that is what measures success. Going to a club, wearing the Versace, wearing the big chains and the bottles.
The Louis V.
And Louis V, man.
It's interesting because I never thought that you would have to do like relationship management, go and see the clients, take them to the club.
Absolutely.
Because from the things I see in the movies, which is, as close as I've been to this world.
Yeah.
Which by the way, I don't think I've even passed the interview for this. I don't think I would even survive. But that's really interesting. And
It's crazy.
I know that your parents are Ecuadorian.
Yeah.
And my parents are Peruvian, very similar. And our parents know us, they know if you're going on the right path. Even if you say no, they're like, I know Alejandro, I know you're doing some things.
For sure.
And they try to steer you in a more positive way.
Yeah.
What moment do you remember when you're like, it's too late, I can't go back? Was there a specific moment or at a specific age were you already selling in high school?
After I went to prison in 2001, I was charged with murder. I went to prison in 2001. I spent almost 3 years. I was acquitted of a murder, and from then it was a wrap, man. I was just too high up in the game, right? I was too high up in the game. I had too many guys depending on me. And I loved it, It was just the thrill, the power. Once you hold that power, how are you gonna let it go?
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's like drugs. It's literally like cocaine.
I've seen some people who say that they don't do the cocaine or the drugs that they sell.
Yeah.
Do you know a lot of people who were in the game who would not consume and still sell, or everyone is consuming?
Brother, I came home to a completely different world. So I came home in 2016 and everyone's doing drugs.
No way.
Growing up, I went away in 2007. That was a no-no. That was shunned. Like you won't even work with people if they're doing drugs. Like if you know that there's a guy that does drugs, you won't even work with him. He doesn't get nothing.
Wow.
But the world has transformed, even hip hop. Hip hop, now it's a cool thing to pop Xannies and pop perks. And so I came home 2017 to a different world. I went out with the guys and I see guys literally doing coke. And I was like, what? That's what's going on here? So it blew my mind. The culture and how much of an influence hip hop culture has. Because that's what it's transitioned to. Hip hop culture now. Every song they're talking about consuming drugs.
Yeah, it's very true. One of the things that I was thinking about when I was meeting you, and I was actually talking to my business partner Juan. He was really excited because he knows about you too.
Yeah.
And we were talking like when we come from Latin America to North America, the opinion back home in Latin America is that here you come to better opportunities. People think that if you come to Canada to work or to study, you're going to be a millionaire, you know? You're going to be sending money back.
Yeah,
they think there's no poverty. They think there's no gangs.
Yeah.
It's only like Tim Hortons and bears and moose and you're just chilling, snowboarding all day.
And we got pools. Everyone has a pool in their backyard. Yeah. Don't forget that one.
But a lot of people think that it's snow all year, you know?
Yeah.
Because they haven't been here. But the reality is much different. Like
100%.
You would think that there's no poverty or that there's no gangs or whatever because this is the first world for them.
Yeah.
What part of Toronto did you grow up in?
I grew up Christie and Bloor. Bloor Street was like Latino Central. That was like the little Ecuador, little Colombia of Toronto. Like see how Milvan and Finch is now?
Yeah.
You see El Mercado?
Yeah.
Toronto was El Mercado.
Wow.
They had everything. Ecuadorian restaurants, Colombian restaurants, Ecuadorian bars. There would be over 200 people in Christie Park from Friday to Sunday. 200 people playing volleyball, playing basketball. And that was our park. That's where, my group grew up.
When I see Jay-Z talk about Bed-Stuy or other rappers talk about where they come from, and some say it was impossible to get out. You either go to jail or you're dead or you're still selling.
Yeah.
Was there an element of Christie and Bloor or that part where you're like, it's really hard to not get into this bad world?
I was just talking to my boy yesterday. So he's deported. He's from Peru, and I was talking to him. He lives in Lima. He lives in Barranco.
Yeah.
Beautiful area in Lima.
Yeah, I've been there. Really good.
So we were talking about the days, and there's still the good old days. Even though it was kind of negative, we had no worries in those days. Like it was all about like having fun, women. We'd have guns on us, but that was like part of the game. In terms of getting out, no, hell no. Like that was something that it was like romanticized.
Wow.
That lifestyle, like for us, we were living the life, and everyone else was just like chumps.
So you would see people like at the financial district in a suit and tie, and you'd be like,
They
"What
couldn't
a
offer
loser!"
us 100%. They couldn't offer us anything. And I grew up with guys in high school and stuff, and when I would see them and I would talk to them, in my mind, I'm like, "This guy's a loser," because the amounts of money I'm making as a young kid, we're making doctor money, brother. You know what I mean?
No tax.
We're making $500,000 to $1 million as kids, bro. I'm going to school 16 years old.
How much? Sorry, how much?
We're making $500,000 to $1 million a year, bro.
No way.
I'm driving in 16 years old. I was driving an Acura 3.5 RL brand new. I dropped 45,000.
Cash.
16-year-old kid. The car, I looked like a shrimp. I looked like a little small guy in the car, and I would roll up to school like that, and all the girls would be like I had cars better than the teachers. So think about that. Like any girl, I can say you. That's what came along with that life.
Wow.
And that was every single day of my life for decades, brother.
That's incredible.
Right? Even in prison, bro. In prison, the same thing, man. Jail guards, the female jail guards, they show love. They show love, man. So it's like...
So you can get stuff into jail.
100%, brother.
So that's the thing. Like, you'd see the documentaries on Netflix in Latin America, and you're like, oh, that happens there. It won't happen in Canada.
100%. It happens more here, bro. They're more corrupt here.
Really?
Come on, bro. 100%, man.
That's
100%. There's everything there.
And when you when you were rolling up to school and in your incredible car and you were already making this much money, it seems like it would be very hard to focus in class because you're like, why would I get a diploma if I'm already making more money than people?
I was just doing it for my family, to be honest.
Okay.
I was doing it to show my family that, hey, like I got a diploma. But school for me was all about just girls and networking. I already had that mind. I went to five different high schools in Toronto. I went to Central Tech, Central Commerce, Western Tech, North Toronto at Yonge and Eglinton, and I graduated from Forest Hill. And for me at that age, it was already about networking. Wow. I wanted to know everyone around the city in order to have a bigger network to sell drugs. That's where my mind was at.
So it was a lot of strategy behind it too.
100%. It's chess. Just like everything in life.
Were there times, or when did it start to become like, I have to watch my back because somebody...
From day one.
Oh, always. So...
From day one. As long as I can remember. I think from when I was 16, I was carrying a gun.
And were you always with your crew, or you were going by yourself?
I was always with someone. Or if I was alone, like my alone would probably be the 5 blocks from my house to Christie Park. Other than that, I'm always with a bag of guys, right? Because there was a lot of beef, man. Like I'm saying, this is the height of gang culture. This is 96. We're listening to music, we're going to parties, and we're getting into huge brawls. 96 to 2000, we had beef with all over the city. Guys would come and lurk in our area, try to catch us slipping. That was every single day of our life, brother. And our cars would get shot up. You'd hear shots, you come up and the cars shot up. Guys would even stab our cars, bro, like shank our cars.
And have you ever like met the, like my question is,
yeah,
because since I've never lived this world, I'm like, these people have never really shook hands, I guess, because they hate each other. But is it the turf, or is it because you're selling at a cheaper price, or is it because you're taking their clients?
When I was 16 to 20, it was more about rep, clout. It wasn't even really about money. From 20, remember, we're 16, 20. We're not really making, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
20 is a different level now, bro. Different level. So from 20 and on, obviously, 100% of it was about money. But before it was just about, like, you know, you went to a party, there was 10 of us and there was 10 of them. We crushed them, and then they try to get us back. And then maybe they catch 2 of our guys at a concert, you know? A Guayacan concert, and they smash them, and then we get them back at.
And by smash them, it means like
a concert. You know what I mean?
By smash them, it means like a fight, like kick the shit out of them, or
sometimes
like...
they'd get baseball bats, sometimes they'd be chains. Brother, I have friends that have been paralyzed. You know, sometimes they're stomping on their back, blood in, blood out stuff, bro. They drop crews on a fire hydrant, man. Like that. That's the type of stuff that fueled us, right? It was next level stuff, brother.
That's
next
insane.
Level. Like you're getting caught. Like I've been chased, where I'm running for my life. Like if I know that if these guys catch me, I'm gonna be paralyzed. You know.
Wow. So after 20, you it starts to get a little more serious because there's more money involved. I know from the articles that I read about you that it was the LA gang. Was that the formal name? Mm-hmm. And then there was the other one. Yeah. And were there other gangs?
Again, the news will always romanticize shit. Yeah. What they say is not the real story. They try to make it into something big. You know? At the end of the day, it all boils down to money and ego. That's all it is, man. Like there's a guy, they won't like you just because you're doing better than them. That's all it boils down to, man. Money. And they want to take what's yours. You have to understand, in that lifestyle, it's not really team players. Everyone wants to say they're a team player, but they're not. Everyone wants to be the man. So you're surrounded by people who are fronting the team player, but in reality, they want to be at the top.
So when you were already having people under you, were you worried that they want to like 100%. Cut your knees?
Oh, 100%, man. That's why you have to just give them just enough. You can't give them too little where they're going to hate you, and you can't give them too much where they're going to take advantage, right? My God. And another reason why shit got serious when you're over 20 is because now you have more responsibilities. You got kids, you got mortgages, you got properties, you got vehicles, you got businesses. So now shit is more serious. You know what I mean? Like, you have responsibilities. Someone's coming to take your money. There's a lot of other things at stake, right? So,
Man, this sounds very stressful.
100%. But you learn to live with, you know what's so crazy is you learn to live with that stress, and you thrive in that stress.
It's incredible.
Like, it turns you into a psychopath.
It's unbelievable. When you went into jail in 2007, when you went in for the longer period.
Yeah.
When did you decide, okay, this is the time to turn my life around? Because you'd been in jail.
I was always looking for a way out, like I said, man. But you're just wearing that mask. So that identity, that persona becomes you, bro.
Yeah.
It's hard to shake off that persona. But then there's the real you.
Yeah.
You know, there's the real me that was, I would cry when I was a kid. I was in plays. I was in drama. I would sing. I would sing solos in front of schools and high schools. You know, there was that vulnerable, very emotional, very insecure kid, right? That's the true me. So I lived this lie until 2007. And like I said, I finally felt, okay, now I can shake it off. But that persona, I battle that persona all the time. You know, even in this interview, he comes out, you know, even talking about the old life, you get like a rush of energy.
Yeah. I get a sense that it's hard to remove those labels and step away from that identity. I'll share something about me that obviously is not at the same magnitude, but I've started to notice this shift where something as simple as being a comedian,
yes,
you know, everyone, you go into any place, you're like, you're a comedian, make me laugh. And you're like, man, I don't, if a boxer comes in, you're like, hey, punch my face. You don't like say to people. So I've started to do stuff that makes me feel better. There's more part to me. I'm a father, I'm a son, I'm a businessman, I'm a comedian, I'm a public speaker, I'm a productivity coach.
Yes.
I do goal setting workshops. I like to do half marathons. So there's all these elements of me that I'm trying to enjoy as well, but because the comedian or the ex-gangster is the one that resonates more for like the news cover or whatever, and I know that I'm doing the same thing. I'm asking you about that part.
It becomes you.
Yeah, it becomes you, and it's so hard to disassociate. So I really admire you for having that courage, because at the end of the day, vulnerability is courage.
Oh, fuck.
We always say that in our speaking workshops. We say that relationships move at the speed of vulnerability.
Wow.
And vulnerability builds trust.
Wow. I need to write that down.
Yeah.
Write that down. Relationships
I'm
move
preaching.
what'd you say again?
Relationships move at the speed of vulnerability.
Wow.
And vulnerability builds trust. So
Let's write that down. I need that. That's fire.
So
yeah, that's what I'm learning too, because everyone's so guarded in relationships.
Yeah.
Friendships, romantic relationships, even like with
business. Parents.
Business, right? And I've been learning over the past year to just give unconditional trust to people. If they break that trust, then you know what?
You're out.
But it feels so good to just trust people, because I came from a world where you don't trust no one. And it sucks.
Yeah, I when I watched you on the news and on YouTube and CB24, I remember the lady who, by the way, was a really good interviewer. She asked you, it was years ago, but she asked you, are you concerned for your safety? And you may have done things in the past, I don't know, obviously, but that you regret, and maybe people still hold a grudge. How do you go walk now in peace? I noticed you said in that interview that, and I loved it when you said, I trust that if I do things well, things will go well. How do you feel right now?
Well, I feel, you know, karma is real, right? But I feel that you can, good deeds pay debts. Good deeds pay debts for the bad deeds.
Yeah.
And it's all about energy and vibrations. So I feel like the vibration I'm on right now, the negative people from my past, they can't even see me. I could be walking up Yonge Street and they could be walking down Yonge Street and they won't even see me.
Oh, that's so good.
Because we're just on a completely different level. But if I were to ever step back into that world.
Have you ever been tempted?
Sometimes with the parties, like I've been invited to parties and stuff. Like even like a month ago, I was invited to a big house party, and my first instinct was like, yo, I'm going, I'm going to this party. But then I thought about it and I discussed it with my girl. And I told her, listen, this is a party. There's going to be guns there. There's going to be lots of drinking. There's going to be lots of high testosterone. A lot of narcissists.
Yeah.
A lot of narcissists. And now I walk into a room where I was like this, and there's guys like this, but now those guys are like this, and I'm like this. So like the dynamic has changed.
In that world. Because I think you're here.
Exactly, but in that they view only in that world.
Yeah.
So like I've even had interactions with guys where they remember me when I was like this, but now they're bigger than me. So they'll talk to me in a way like kind of try to talk down to me. And I'll pull them aside. I go, hey bro, like, what's that about? What's that about? You know what I mean? But you see how it's like a mind, like a Jedi mind trick that they're trying to use. One
of the quotes that I love, sorry to interrupt you,
no
is
problem.
escape competition through authenticity. Like nobody's competing with you if you're yourself, man. And I think deep inside, I don't know, because maybe it's a different world, but some of them want to be you, man. Like you got out successfully. Now you're a great dad. You're winning public speaking competitions. You're inspiring people.
Yeah.
And it seems like bullshit to be like, oh, you're inspiring people, you're making a change, but you are. Like we don't see it because like there's no people being like, oh, Alex, thank you for change.
No, people reach out to me when
100%.
People DM me and say that to me. I always say honestly, man, thank you. Like I appreciate that. Even if it's just one person, they keep me on the right track. And they tell me that I'm doing the right thing. Because when I was selling drugs, no one came to me and said, yo, yeah, right on, you're doing good,
Yeah.
You're selling drugs, you're doing good. No one's telling me that. But now I'm doing good and people are recognizing that. And it feels right, bro.
Yeah.
Like that fills my heart,
I love that, man. And one of the reasons why I love your Instagram, and I know that obviously I don't know you, but I know that you're on the right track, is because all the messages that I see on Instagram and your stories with your son, with Marcus, it's like this guy is an incredible role model now, And
Trying.
And obviously I don't know your relationship with Marcus. First of all, I thought you were 30. Then I saw Marcus. I'm like, how old is this guy?
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to ask you is, it looks and it appears, and from talking to you behind the scenes, you're very close to Marcus, your son. I just had a son. He's 1 year old. And I couldn't fathom the pain in you and in him when you went to jail for that time, because you look really close to Marcus right now. And I can tell that he loves you, man. And the reason why I'm asking is many people are imprisoned out of jail. And they feel they're losing relationships with the people they love.
Yeah.
Even in COVID times, we're separate. So we feel like we're losing relationships. Or maybe you're not in jail, but you don't talk to your son.
Yeah.
So when you went to jail and when you were in jail, how were you able to still foster that relationship with him?
Yeah.
Or when you came out, how did you recover that so that he knew that you're not a bad guy, you just made some bad decisions? Morality and integrity are different things.
What brought us together was pain. What brought us together was the suffering, the pain,
vulnerability, relationships.
Vulnerability, man. Talking over the phone. Like my speech for Toastmasters this Sunday is called the 4 o'clock call. That was my phone time at one point. My phone time was 4 o'clock, and I would call him every single day at 4 o'clock. And just think about that, man. You have a son.
Yeah.
Think about how it'd be if you can't be with him. How the desperation that you would feel and just want to get out to be with your son, and how scared you would be for your son. Like I just wanted both my sons. Like in my mind, I'm like, damn, like imagine something were to happen to them and I'm in here. I would regret that for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So just being open, being honest with my son, and both of us continually putting effort into the relationship. I have to credit his mom too, man. Like his mom was they don't make women like that,
What's her name?
Her name is Karina.
Shout out to Karina.
Shout out to Karina, man. Even though me and her are kind of we don't really talk and stuff. But shout out to her, like there's not a lot of women that do that, especially in prison. Like a lot of women, they bounce. Even if they have kids, they bounce.
Yeah, I when I think about that, and that's why I really admire you. In like I said, integrity and morality are two different things. The fact that you did stuff that breached integrity doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You know, so you restore integrity. You did your time, whatever that means for society.
Yeah.
But what I really admire is you want to be present now.
For sure.
And I see you with your son. Like he loves you, man. You can tell, And when I thought of that, I'm like, this guy has a lot of admiration, because you could have just
We have me and Marcus we bump heads, man, because we're both like very strong
alphas.
We're very strong, right? So we bump heads, and what I've learned is I have to listen to him. I have to learn to take a leadership role, and also, you know, a following role, and vice versa. You know, sometimes he takes the dad role. Sometimes he's the dad and I'm the son, and sometimes I'm the dad and he's the son. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's what I'm trying to, you know, that's what we're trying to do through Dad Son Talks, is say that there's nothing wrong with that. Like, we as Latinos, we grew up in authoritarian households where our dad's command was law. And my son challenges me. You know, if I say something, my son will say flat out, no. Right? And then I'm not used to that, because when my dad would say something, I would have to do it. But then we talk about it. And if my son says no, I respect my son so much that he has the intelligence. He's saying no for a reason. He's not just saying no to rebel. He's saying no for a reason. He doesn't want to be a yes man. And I commend him for that. And I love him for that. And that's what we're trying to promote in all types of relationships, especially in a dad-son relationship.
Now that you're a role model, and you're leading Marcus, and you're leading Christian, who's 14 as well, what type of things do you tell them to not go that route? Or is it crystal clear that they don't want to follow?
Yeah, it's crystal clear, man. Think about it. They lost their dad for so long. Christian, he's going to be going to high school, so I really need to be there for him, you know? Because we don't know who he's going to meet in high school and stuff like that. Marcus, crystal clear. He knows the pain, he knows the suffering, he knows everything that comes with that life, right? So, yeah.
That's very important. I wanna go back a little bit, because this was a pivotal moment in your life as well. In 2016, you were teaching a class at Christie Pits.
Yeah, Christie Park. That's where I grew up.
And you were shot, and your family was there. People were there.
Everyone was there, bro. It was crazy. My whole family was there, bro.
I tried to read about it, but correct me if I'm wrong. You're teaching a class, 24/7 Fitness, or
24/7. It's called Prison Pump.
Prison Pump. It's a free class at the park for the community. You're giving back. You're helping people, and out of the people who are taking the class, this is out in the open.
Yeah.
Somebody takes out a gun and shoots you, and this was from the rival gang. This guy you'd never seen before, or like, how was the scenario? Because I tried to read about it, but it wasn't very clear.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's just how it is sometimes, right? Sometimes you just can't escape it, and you got to just deal with the consequences. You know, sometimes it's not even your own beef. Sometimes it could be a beef from your friends that you grew up with, and wouldn't say guilty by association, you're guilty by affiliation, right? So
you had just come out?
I just came out. I just came out trying to put my life the same, just trying to walk in a right direction, but I was a somebody before. And as much as I wanted to forget, the streets didn't forget. And the streets, in their mind, they're like, this guy's full of it. This guy's the same guy. He's just fronting to be a different guy. We got to get this guy before he gets us, right? So that's exactly what happened, man. Luckily, I survived. I put the word out as much as possible to say, hey, man, like, you know, whatever happened to me, I'm good with it. I'm not coming back. I'm trying to, you don't have nothing to worry about when it comes to me. And luckily, we're going on 5 years.
That's incredible.
This June will be 5 years since it last happened, right? So
when you talk, it reminds me of Gavin Baines. He was on the podcast episode 4.
Okay.
And he's a high performance coach, a mental coach.
Okay.
And he said something that I loved, and he says, where people go wrong is that they try to change themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't change yourself. You got to override the bullshit.
love that.
He's
bro.
like, you're always gonna be the same person. Like, you can't change yourself. Like, you go to that party, like, it's like, you want to come to it, you're like,
yes.
but you can't change that instinct, that animal,
That's
that
so
alpha.
crazy that you say that.
You gotta override the bullshit
100%.
and make that change and that decision. It's decisions, man. It's decisions. This life is all about decisions. What did you think after that? Were you like, is this ever gonna end? Like, I'm trying to get my life back together. Nobody believes me. Or were you like, these are the consequences for the things that I did, and I'm okay with it? Like,
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me right back in.
yeah.
Just when I thought, you know where that's from, right? The Godfather. That's how I felt. When I got shot, that's what played in my head. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me right back in. So now what do I got to do? I got to go right back into that life. I got to take on that persona again. So, yeah, man, I've just been practicing being true to myself, being who I am. And I believe that's the way, but it's so hard in this world, right? Like I was talking, we were interviewing a rapper, and I was asking him, who are you at home? And then tell us about this guy, the last video that I seen, we're in your club popping bottles. Tell us about that guy.
Yeah.
Because it's a completely different thing. Like when you're at home with your kids, and then when you're going out with your homies. Even you, like if you're going out with a couple guys, or when you go to the beach and you guys have a couple yelas and stuff, you take on a different persona. You take on the persona you have with the boys you grew up with. The slangs, everything comes out. So who is the real us? Is it the one that we grew up with our family? Is it the one we're home with our kids? Is it? We have so many different identities, bro. And I think everything influences that. Like the clothes we wear, the shows we watch, the música we listen to. There's so many external factors. How do we find that internal?
It's a I love talking about this. For me, it's one of the things that I didn't understand about myself when I started my comedy career. I would be ashamed of who I was on stage, or would feel awkward. Because I would feel like my friends from childhood or my family or somebody who knew me really well, they'd be like, that's not you.
Yeah.
Like, you don't talk like that. But then I realized that let's call us, like, the person like a pie.
Okay.
And then I realized, this is what I tell my students, you slice a piece of the pie.
Okay.
And that little 1% of you magnifies on stage.
Yeah.
So it's not that you're being disingenuous or inauthentic with your friends. It's just that part of you comes out. Like, I'm not going to talk with you like I talk with my wife or like with my dad. There's a certain respect, or there's a certain tonality. I don't think it's disingenuous. Now, where it gets out of control, it's the consequences or what you do when you're in that environment. So, I
think it's a little disingenuous, but because why can't you talk to your dad the same way you talk to your boss, or your son the same way you talk to your boss? Like, right? Like, why do I gotta put on a white guy voice when I'm, speaking to like another professional white person?
I agree.
Why can't I just speak the way I'm speaking to you right now? And that's what I've been trying to practice.
100%.
Right?
I agree.
That's how we find ourselves, brother.
I want to be like that, but like, this is what happened to me. I think my life, I've been trying to fit in. Maybe it happened to you too.
100%.
I was born in Costa Rica, but with Peruvian parents.
Yeah.
So in Costa Rica, I kind of wasn't Costa Rican. Then I go to Peru. I don't talk Peruvian. I talk like I'm Costa Rican.
Yeah.
Then I go to live to El Salvador. With my dad and my stepmom and my sisters.
Yeah.
I'm not Salvadorian. Then I go to live to Mexico. Of course, I'm not Mexican. Then I go to Quebec. Of course, I'm not Canadian. So all these times, but the one thing that happened to me is every time I would go to these places, I would adopt the accent. I would talk like Mexican after like a couple weeks or whatever.
Of course.
I'm really good with that. And I'm like, I was just trying to get by, I was just trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Is it disingenuous? Is it inauthentic? Probably. But at the same time, I'm just trying to not get rejected, I know. Now that the layers have peeled, I'm much more comfortable. That's why I created the podcast. I love having these conversations.
100%, but beautiful.
But the thing is, I can't, like, I want to, but it's weird. I'm at a party and I'm like, when is the last time you said I love you to your dad? People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I love having these conversations, but sometimes it's not the time, or it's weird, or you just want to have a good time in that environment.
Yeah.
So,
Brother, I've noticed people are not emotionally intelligent. People
yeah,
are not.
I agree.
Yeah, a lot of people are not. Yeah, like just so you can say, I told my dad I love him. I tell him every day I love him, right? Sometimes he doesn't accept it. About a month ago, I tried to kiss him. He was in a bad mood. He pushed my face away. He says, "Don't kiss me. Men don't kiss."
No.
And I was like, "What?" Like whatever. I just ignored him, right? But yeah, a lot of people you listen to their conversations with their parents, or it's like they're talking to like a stranger.
Yeah,
Right?
I've been trying to practice that a lot too, and it's funny because I think, especially in comedy and when you're
Yeah.
on stage, sometimes people say, "Oh no, the audience was horrible today," or
Yeah.
whatever. No, man, it's you. It's you. The audience is usually a reflection of you.
100%.
Sometimes you're like you're talking super nervous, super fast.
energy.
They're not even breathing because they're so nervous because you're nervous.
Mm-hmm.
If you're having a good time, you're relaxed. They smile too.
100%.
So most of the time, and this is what I learned in Landmark.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Landmark, the course?
No.
Dude, this would really solidify
Okay.
the person you're becoming.
Okay.
So what it talks about is that where people go wrong is that they mix the facts with the story they're telling themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can't distinguish the story you're telling yourself from what actually happened, that's when pain happens.
Yes.
So, for example, my parents divorced and my dad moved to another country.
Okay.
So I could have easily been like, or at times I could have been like, he abandoned me.
Yeah.
And no, he left and he went and then blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. No, man, he moved. Like, what are the facts?
For sure.
He moved. But it's so easy and comfortable to be the victim.
Yes.
But you can't be the victim unless there's an aggressor.
Yeah,
So
I like that you said that. So I believe that it's important to internalize those things,
yeah.
right? Not play the victim, but like if your dad left, you have to understand that that did play a role on you,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
So like even me, like my dad, like I'm not trying to make my dad feel guilty or myself, but my dad was a worker. I didn't really see my dad much. I seen my peers more than I seen my dad. And that affected me.
100%.
So in order for me to understand myself, I have to go way back and see how that affected me as an adult.
Totally.
See how that affected me as un papa and as a
100%.
future partner, bro. Because my dad will give my mom the silent treatment sometimes. I've done that with past partners. Where do I learn that from?
Yeah. A lot of these behaviors are learned.
Right? Even the entrepreneur, we were just talking about the entrepreneurial. Like, my dad's not entrepreneurial. My mom's not entrepreneurial. Where did I get my entrepreneurial mentality from? I got it from my sister. So just really digging deep and going back and seeing how I became who I am now is allowing me, bro, to be my authentic self and continue to practice those things.
I totally agree. You can't change what happened.
Psychology, mental health, bro, to me is one of the most valuable tools of this era.
And one of the things that Landmark talks about is that we're constantly putting our past in front of us. So you can't see the future because you have the past in front of you.
Yeah.
And it allows you to take it away. So just a simple example from Gavin actually. He's
So where would the past be?
So for example, he in 6th grade when he was 6,
Okay.
he was told he was put down a grade.
Okay.
And he had to repeat the grade. He failed. He went down a grade. And in that moment, he made that decision, consciously or unconsciously, that he was dumb.
Wow.
So his entire life until he
Everyone's
actually,
telling him he's dumb, he's like believing he's dumb.
and he's telling himself, he's not even trying things. 'Cause university, nah, man, I'm dumb.
Wow.
High school, no, he's failing things on purpose so that he can justify
Fit that persona.
and fit that persona.
Yeah.
And he can justify his story. Because you need to confirm yourself the stories that you've told yourself.
Yes.
So when you have the tools to be able to distinguish the story you're telling yourself from the facts, then you're able to move forward and take that past and just put it in the past.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect. And when there's nothing in front of you, what's in front of you? Nothing.
Yeah.
So what's the possibility? Everything.
Yes.
And when you see some teenagers or people walking on the streets, and you probably have that radar when you're like, these guys, they don't even have to tell you, you know.
Of course.
what would you recommend? What would your advice be to some of these kids, 14, 15, 16, that are getting into the game? What would you tell them?
I'll tell them be themselves every day. Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. Why are you buying that chain? Why are you buying those shoes? Be yourself. Be yourself. Be yourself. That's it. That's all I'll tell them. Be yourself.
Do you think some people get in the game as a defense mechanism or as a result of not being themselves?
Trying to fit in. Trying to fit into, yeah. The majority, we were just talking about this the other day, like the majority, I would say like 95% of people that are in the game are not even in it. They're not even successful. Like they're just in it like to live. You know, they're just in it for that lifestyle. Like they're not advancing. They're just doing it to fit in and say like, yeah, like I'm a baller or, you know.
Are there people who don't get caught or don't do jail time or don't?
Oh, absolutely. Of course.
Like higher level, like when you were there.
You know what, man? That saying that you either end up dead or in jail is true. If you're not someone that cooperates with the police or something like that, 100%, man. You're either dead or you're in jail. There's guys who have made it, but they've transitioned into legitimate business. They were the ones that made that right choice and say, you know what, I'm done. But when you're done, you have to be completely done. That's the difference. You can't be done and dabble. Because then shit's gonna happen. You know, I don't know one guy. I don't know one guy that was successful growing up that is doing this like is successful. Yeah, I can't name one person.
Jim Rohn and Dale Carnegie, who are some of the top dogs of personal growth, they have said, as well as Darren Hardy, that you are the average of your 5 closest friends.
100%.
You agree with that, especially in that world?
100%. That's why the people I surround myself with now are all, you know, positive people, winners, trustworthy and trustful. You know, people that would like take their shirt off their back to give me, and I would do vice versa. Positive conversations. You know, there's never no subliminal like. There's never no like hater comments or envious comments. Healthy, into fitness, into personal growth, into learning. Right?
I love that. When you think about successful people, who comes to mind and why?
I don't know. Honestly, I think about like the Dalai Lama. I think about people who have complete peace in their lives. I don't really think about like Mark Zuckerberg's and money. Like I see people who have healthy relationships. Like I see like a man like The Rock.
Yeah.
I see a man like The Rock, how he has, you know, a beautiful family. He has a beautiful wife. Beautiful. I think he has a daughter.
Yeah,
he found love,
she's in
bro.
wrestling.
I think people who found love, true love, they're the successful people, man. And I'm learning that right now. Like I've had a couple, you know, good women in my life that, you know, and each one is better and better and better and better, right? And it's proven to me that, you know what, man, like love is all we need, brother. Yeah. This stuff, we don't need this, man. That's an illusion, bro. That's an illusion to take us away from who we're truly meant to be.
Yeah.
We're meant to be in nature. We're meant to be naked, bro. This doesn't mean nothing. We're meant to be naked.
If I touch this, it disintegrates.
Yeah. Would you do that? Would you want to live in a naked world?
I would love to, man.
Think about how.
But now I'm self-conscious right now because of the world that we live in.
You see that?
Also, because I haven't been to 25/7 ever.
Brother, you gotta start coming, man. The invite's there. Come on.
Then when I go to 25/7, nobody.
We can start it.
You don't even have to ask me, man.
Let's start the naked world.
I'll go into the gym naked. You're gonna be like, come on, man. You're scaring out.
You know what? That's a good concept. Naked gym.
I have a friend.
Or a naked workout. Naked boot camp. Damn, that's ballsy, people. Yo, naked. I'll run a naked boot camp.
That would be incredible.
100% I run a naked boot camp.
I have a friend. Yeah. She had a meetup.
Yeah.
And it was just chilling naked.
Yeah.
And being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This is something that I wanted to ask every single person that has ever been in the game. It's not a serious question, but how do you come up with a gang name? Is there a meeting like we're gonna pick a name today? What's going on? Or do you get it? Like other people give it to you?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I don't know.
Or how did you come up with it? Because people
I think like some guys, yeah, they'll probably be drinking and stuff, and they'll say, yeah, like let's drinking and smoking and listening to music. They say, you know what, let's call ourselves this, and they call ourselves. But for us, like it was just there.
So there was a lot.
That's what it is. From what I heard before, it was the police
who
made that name for us, right? That's what I heard. But then I heard also that like there was another gang who created that like subset, you know. But every gang is different, right? Like it's just like in Ecuador. In Ecuador, every street corner has a group, and they identify themselves by a street corner. But it's different. In our countries, they don't call them gangs. Gang is a North American concept, brother, because they're not used to like youth of the same cultures hanging out with each other. Whereas in our countries, eso es normal. That's normal. So the whole gang concept, the gangs that exist in South America are guys that have gotten deported from North America and started these gangs there. You know what I mean? So it's like people in back home don't have the gang. Like, they don't call them gangs. It's just normal. It's normal for a group of guys to hang out at a park. So in those days, in 1996, 97, 98, it was all like your park. So like McCormick Park, Regent Park Boys, Regent Park Posse, Parkdale Boys. Like it was all parks. Christie Park Boys, Fred Hamilton Boys. It was all like parks, and we all would hang at parks, and that would be our park.
Were there people that you grew up with in school that ended up becoming cops, and they knew what you were doing, and you knew that they were cops, obviously?
Yeah.
And were they ever like, dude, come on, man, like they're on to you, or you never would talk to a cop?
Wow.
Or
I don't know if I can talk about this. You know, I was with a cop before. I was with a cop, and she was the one who tipped me off. She told me they were watching me. She didn't tell me they were watching me. She said there's a no stop order. So basically, if I get stopped for any like traffic infraction, they let me go. They get my license. As soon as they get my license, they let go. Because they don't want to arrest me. If they were to arrest me, the investigation gets halted because they have 24-hour surveillance on me.
Oh.
So if I go to jail, it's like it screws up their surveillance. So I could literally be drunk. They could smell alcohol in my breath, and they have to let me go.
Oh, so they have this.
So she said, listen, I don't know what's going on, but there's the order on you. So just something's going on, right?
I'm really impressed, especially with like the level of organization in some of these gangs, like La Mara Salvatrucha and La Mara 18 from El South.
Yeah,
they're in many countries.
Like armies, brother.
They've
like
been
armies.
everywhere. So contrary to what people think, that it's just a bunch of chums in a living room, like smoking weed, like it's highly organized.
Man,
like
it's corporate. These guys own
are they,
assets.
This is a weird question, but do gangsters use like Excel, Google Sheets, like
100%.
scheduling stuff, like
100%.
or you try to stay away from like computers?
Hermano, no, hermano. Like you have to understand, like these guys, if these guys were to apply themselves in the corporate world, they would dwarf the people that are running the corporate world right now. Let me repeat that. Right now, the guys that have chosen the criminal route, if they decided to transition into the corporate world, they would take over. They would dwarf the competition. The smartest people I've met are in prison. The most emotionally intelligent men I've met are in prison. But they're stuck in that world. They're stuck in that mindset. Which probably blows your mind. Like, you don't understand that, but it's just, that's how it is.
100%. Like, I kind of suspected it because you can't reach this level of penetration into other markets and continue to do it successfully. I guess until you get caught, but some people are still doing it at a high level. It's like, it requires like so much coordination
100%.
and like these people are good at math too. Like there's
everything: presentation skills, body language, money management, finance, marketing, advertising.
You could sell a corporate workshop.
Teach me how to do it.
Keynote speaking for the lessons that I learned in the drug game about body language and effective communication this is like for selling, man. Like
100%.
you're
Guys like us, we can walk into a room and take the whole room over.
yeah.
People will feel our energy, and that's something that I want to learn to teach. I just got off parole in February, so
That's
I need to connect
incredible.
with guys like you. But for sure, man, I think we have something going here.
100%. And
Yeah.
you know what? That's a skill that can be learned. We actually just hired a business coach on speaking.
Okay.
Because we've accomplished this. My business partner Juan and
Yeah.
myself by ourselves, but there's a way to do the PDF to teach to present
Yeah.
what this keynote is going to look like. Some people are charging 15 grand for an hour,
Wow.
25 grand for
Wow.
an hour.
Yeah.
And
They
they're
paid
not
me
even,
$3,000 once for a keynote.
and the,
Keynotes
dude,
are the way to go.
sometimes like some of the friends that I'm trying to get into this world.
Yeah.
I'm doing it more and more, but you say 3,000,
Yeah.
they're like, you're not even serious, man.
Yeah.
You got to say 7,000, 12,000.
Wow. Okay. You gotta aim high.
Yeah.
We should start like a speakers bureau, Latino speakers bureau.
Yeah. I mean, I
Let's
like
get Carlito involved. Shout out to Carlito.
Yeah, shout out Carlito.
Online trainer. You already
was
know,
on
brother.
the podcast too. The thing is, you probably already know this, but nobody has your story in this market.
For sure.
There's a lot of people like me who I'm really good at speaking and communicating. My story is
Yeah.
like I'm a former banker turned
Yeah.
comedian. I kind of quit that game.
Yeah.
Obviously not as dangerous.
Yeah.
But that's kind of appealing. But man, like I see you speaking in front
Yeah.
of 15,000 people.
Show me, bro. Show me the way. We'll barter. You show me that, and I'll train you. I'll get you into the best shape of your life. Yeah,
That's
man. Like,
really
right?
good.
It's all about growth, right? Relationships all about growth. Bro.
I'm gonna present you our growth coach. I mean our speaking coach.
Okay, yeah, man. Get me involved.
Mostly like business coach, Cody Schuan, a legend. We were just in a call with him before you came. That's
Okay.
why. But going back to the topic at hand, it's not just about the money. Obviously, it's incredible to make 15,000 per hour, but
Yeah.
it's everyone's like, oh, like 15,000 for an hour. I can speak for an hour. It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about the experience that you
100%.
have. Like, I couldn't pay someone $1 million to go and live what you have because you can't pay for that. Like, it's you earn that, and you've done your time. You've come here to do incredible things now, and yeah, the money's cool. But think about how many people you're gonna impact.
Yes.
Also, you're going to be able to empower people with incredible sales skills, body language skills, and the in-betweens that you learned while in this world. Like you said, these people who are the masterminds, like they
Yeah.
could dwarf the people on Bay Street,
Transferable
Wall
skills.
Street. Like there's a huge market for that. So when Alex comes back in a year, to do the next episode, you'll see him balling. And
Let's do it. Let's do it.
He's gonna be traveling, doing incredible things.
Let's do it. Let's get
He's
a
already,
jet, bro. We're gonna have both of our logos.
already doing incredible things. Now, I want to ask you about the future because, like, I've already talked about the past so much. Because there's a lot of
Damn.
learnings, but Tony Robbins says that success leaves clues,
Yeah.
and now you've been having lots of success preaching your positive message, being an example.
Yeah.
And what do you want to do? I know you're already doing great things with 25/7 Prison Pump, with the gym at Bloor and Young,
Yeah.
being there for your son.
Yeah.
And what other things do you want to do? Because sometimes when you're stuck in this world that you got out of,
Yeah.
you're so stressed covering your back that you don't even think about the future. You're just worrying about today.
100%, bro. I don't know. I don't really think that far into the future, to be honest, man. Like, I just want to find people that I love and that love me and protect me, and I protect them. That's all. I just want to have a good circle of real people in my life. And I want to go back to Ecuador, man. I want to go to the jungle and live in the jungle for like 4 months. So that's why I'm moving and I'm doing a million things at once and trying to get everything together so I can just leave, bro. Leave, disconnect for about 4 months, do the ayahuasca, and see if I can. Yeah, man. That, like, I feel like the jungle's calling me for a big transformation, bro. But I have worldly things to deal with first, so I'm trying to hustle and deal with those worldly things so I can go. That's my future.
You got to go in naked to the jungle, man.
100%, brother. That's what I'm gonna do.
And relax.
100%, man. That's the goal. The first time I'm gonna bring, like, when I was talking to Marcus, like, I'm like, Marcus, like, you have to not bring your phone. But this is my first time. I'm thinking, you know, the first time I have to bring my phone and document some of those. I'm going to do naked 10Ks in the jungle.
Dude, your 10K is going to be called 69.7.
69.7, brother. 100%. But, you know, tell me that, bro. I'm in the jungle, bro. Who's this guy running naked 10K every day?
100%. It's you, man. You're changing the world.
That's me, brother.
Escape competition through authenticity.
Yeah.
What do you do to disconnect? And what I mean by that is...
I try, brother. I can't. I have ADHD. I try. I have my Headspace app. I have gold 24 karat eye patches that I put under, and I lie down and I do the 11-minute meditation, and that's about all I can do to disconnect, bro. My mind is just... I don't think I can disconnect in this society in Toronto, bro. I think it's impossible.
Well, meditation is one of the best things to do, man.
Yeah.
And the best thing is that you can't win. You just have to let go. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I meditate as well.
You know what? I've been practicing. We've practiced 2 disconnect days with my girl where we put the phones away. And we just cook and dance and sing to each other and eat and smoke a little weed and watch movies. Amazing, brother. And just play like kids.
Yeah. I teach this productivity workshop to free up time for what matters.
Yeah.
And I want to invite you, man, as a token of my appreciation.
Gracias,
I'm going to teach you 45 productivity hacks.
Yeah.
So that it's not just about doing more in less time.
Yeah, gracias, mano.
It's about freeing up time for what matters.
Yeah.
And it's all about fulfillment versus achievement.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, when I get that car, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
When I get $1,000, I'll be happy. When I get that promotion, when I graduate.
Yeah.
But that's the achievement game. That's a draining game.
Yes.
We're talking about the fulfillment game. Tony Robbins says, I used to achieve to be happy.
Yeah.
Now I happily achieve.
Yes.
And I think that's the game that you want to be in. You want to enjoy your day to day as opposed to having to, when I become a millionaire, I'll be happy. And then the thing is, like, when you get there,
you're not happy, bro. You're not happy. It's never enough.
Yeah. You constantly move the finish line.
Yeah. You're just competing with more guys.
Yeah.
Right? That's what happened to me in that game. You're never happy.
It's
because you don't really have a concrete goal. You know, you're not telling yourself just there's no end game. There's no exit. A lot of people don't have exit strategies. A lot of people are not saying, okay, my goal is to make 2 million and then diversify those 2 million and do this. Like, everyone is like, okay, money. Like, if you ask a lot of people what how much money do you want? Like, they don't have a concrete number. They just say, I need to make money. I need to pay bills and that. But give me a number.
Yeah.
Smart goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic time. Like, you have to have a smart goal in everything you do, right? And a lot of people are not doing this.
I love that you said that you're trying to surround yourself with positive people who actually...
I am surrounding myself. That's how I met you, brother.
We rise by helping others.
Yes.
And you're teaching... Like, this is the thing. You may think that because... Like, I think that you're teaching us a lot more than you think. Like, you're actually making so many great changes, and just by reading your articles, man, I was learning a lot about you. I'm really curious as to how do you say no to people who were in your life back then and be like, man, like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore, because some of these people were maybe really close to you in the past.
Yeah.
Do they get pissed? Or do they understand?
Some do and some don't. Some do and some don't, right? And it's just like, honestly, you have to just cut ties. You have to cut ties, and the ones that like support you and happy for you, you'll feel it, you know? But it's like, it's just different paths. It's completely different paths. Like, how can it's like, I don't know, you're a doctor, but then you, I don't know, hang out with construction workers? What are you guys going to talk about, really, you know? It's not really consistent. You have to be with people that are kind of like-minded, right?
Yeah.
So hanging out with guys that are still in that life, like, even when we'll talk on the phone, it's like, it's nothing to talk about. I have stuff to talk about. I'm like, what about you? They're just like, you already know, same thing. Like, they're just doing their thing. So.
Yeah, man. It's admirable because
And I've been through a lot of stuff too, man. Like there's been a couple guys I've argued with, and I'm being like, listen, man, like what I've been through, you know, like no one can tell me nothing. No one can say anything to me. I've been through it.
Did you have to have important conversations with your family when you got out, where they were complaining or that you were in debt to them, and you would have to be like, dude, let me prove you that this is the good.
Yes, 100%. Like even now, sometimes my parents will have doubt in me, and that crushes me. Like when they think like that, I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Yeah,
you know, I'm doing well, and they see, and even like financially, they see, and they'll question it. They'll be like, hey, like I have a feeling you're still doing stuff, and that just like the people that I love most, that are supposed to be supporting my transition, say that, and it just like destroys me, brother. But yeah, I just have to. It all comes with time, right? It's intentions is nothing. It's actions, right? So I got to show them through actions, and it takes time.
Yeah, you're building that credibility, and by you being vulnerable and really being authentic and pursuing those things, it builds trust, man.
Yeah, but that's all I can do is be vulnerable, because like even like in this society, especially, you know, once you're an ex-con, you're like held under a microscope.
Yeah.
So I went from committing crimes every single day for decades to now like trying every day to not do something, you know? I have a criminal mind. Like I can't, sometimes it's like, yeah, maybe I might look for a corner to cut or something, you know? It's just innate.
You can't change yourself.
Listen, the other day I was jogging. I'll tell you a story. Another day I was jogging on Bay Street.
Yeah.
And the two armored car guys come, and they're holding a big bag. And right away, and I'm jogging with Rocco. I'm jogging with my dog. Right away, that's like second nature. My mind goes to, look at these two guys. Would I be able to do it? How would I do it? There's probably like, I'm telling you, there's probably like over 100 grand in that bag. And I'm jogging, and then one of the guys is like, yo, and I'm like,
what?
Yo, yeah, I dabbed his hand, but I had to keep Rocco away from him. He's one of my childhood buddies.
No way.
He's like, brother, he's like, I've been watching you, I love it. I'm like, bro, thank you. And I ran away. But you see how my mind goes right to, like, your mind wouldn't go to that. My mind goes right to like a sinister plan.
I'd be like,
right? It's crazy, bro.
What would I
It's
do with that
nuts.
money? Like, where would I invest it? Or I'm like, do these guys like to play soccer? Or like, how much does that car cost?
I'm
you
like, yeah, like, no, man. I'm like,
but that, dude, that could
and
be...
I fight with that every day, brother.
Yeah, like when we said where people go wrong is they try to change themselves. You can't change yourself. You got to override the bullshit.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be an incredible opening story for a keynote in front of 1,000 people.
Brother, help me. Are you, I mean,
100%, man.
Let's make some bread together, man.
Yeah, no, I want all the bread for you.
Yeah.
You deserve it. I'll show you the way, and then you go conquer what's yours, man.
Manager.
Yeah, I can teach
Talk
you.
to your business partner.
Yeah. So we're coming to the last question. Actually, I want to ask you something else.
Sure.
The last question is called the champagne question.
Okay.
But I really want to ask you this before. Prison, people think that prison is like a very negative place where these horrible people are. Some people are trying to do the right thing in prison, are trying to make up for lost time, like yourself.
For sure.
Were you scared in prison, or are you like, nah, I'm good here? Or do you have people or friends from your gang?
I think I was too overconfident in prison. Too overconfident. And that got me in trouble, right?
That got you in trouble in prison too?
To be too overconfident? 100%, because you get like haters.
A bunch of people are alphas in there, or no?
Yeah, you're in a place where everyone's an alpha and everyone gets the same amount of stuff. So there's going to be people who want more.
Yeah.
And if they see any sign of if you have more than them and they see any sign of weakness, they're going to come and try to take it. It's a completely different world now. Like prison today is different than what prison was 10 years ago, and it's different than what prison was 15 years ago.
What's the difference?
Well, now there's gang raids, right? Now there's big mass gang raids, so guys are going to jail with like 20 of their friends. It wasn't like that before. Oh. The penitentiary was reserved for the most dangerous people, so you go there and you're on your own. But now if you go there with 20 guys, it's different. So there's way more of like a gang mentality in prison.
Were there people who were supporting your positive transition or giving you positive feedback?
100%, man. There's small groups that you know, the same way in prison. Like I found guys that were positive and on the same wavelength, you could call it. But it's rare. It's rare, man.
We're coming into the champagne question, which is the last question that we ask all our guests.
Yeah, let's do it.
And this is going to happen, by the way.
Yeah.
If we were to meet a year from now with a bottle of champagne,
Okay.
what are we celebrating in Alejandro's life?
Wow. That's a crazy one. I love that question. If we're in 1 year from now, we're celebrating champagne, is that I don't know that question. Hold on, I gotta think about that. 1 year, what are we celebrating? Champagne, summertime.
Growth, man. Honestly, and staying on the positive path. Those two things.
Then I'm still,
That's a win.
Yeah.
In my book, that's a win.
1 year from now, champagne, if we're celebrating, is that I'm still on this track.
That's incredible, man. I love that. That's so powerful because it comes back to mindfulness, being present.
Yeah.
I think it aligns with AA's 12 steps.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the future. Just worry about the next 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And these little things compound, man. Positive. You start to get momentum.
Yeah.
And then your reputation starts to shift. You're getting more opportunities. You're surrounding yourself with incredible people.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know that, man. I really admire you.
Gracias, mano.
The people who I told that you were coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
They were like extremely
Appreciate
excited.
that. Yeah, man.
They really admire you, and it's just a clear example that if you really want to, you can turn negative into positive.
Yeah, 100%.
So continue doing it, man. Go into Alex's Instagram 25/7 Clubhouse Toronto around
Clubhouse Toronto, it's coming, guys.
Bluer and Young. They're
Young
gonna
and
have
Bluer, prime time.
naked fitness classes. pretty
Naked
soon.
fitness, guys. Who's down? In my handle _ Alejandro Vivar _ and thank you, brother. Honored.
Man, you're doing great things. This is Stephan Dyer, Alejandro Vivar on the Stephan Dyer podcast. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Gracias por escuchar el Stephan Dyer podcast. Arrivederci, my people.